So give us the scouting report, the positives and negatives of Dennis Allen, as it regards his current role of defensive coordinator.
Really good coach, really smart coach, and I can tell you guys will see it first day of camp, whether it's mini camp or training camp. Those defensive guys, they're going to do up downs. Anytime a new player is signed, they're going to do up downs. As soon as those guys go to individual drills, as far as offense and defense, they will do up downs. And so for me, knowing DA and over the plus 20 years, because DA, not only was he a assistant under Sean Payton, and obviously we know the head coach for the Saints, but even being the defensive coordinator, he was assistant defensive back coach. And so I know you guys have, I think it's Al Harris from the Cowboys, who is tremendous as well. Declan Doyle. You also have JT Barrett, JT, a couple of guys on that staff, and they've done a good job. Coach Johnson has of assembling that staff. But from a defensive standpoint, you will have an aggressive defensive coach. It's in his DNA to be a guy that likes to play man-to-man. He will adjust to what he has as far as defense is concerned, but in his DNA, he is an aggressive defensive coach. Will get you some exotic pressures. He's going to kind of his defense will be based off of what he has from a personnel standpoint, and so you will get some nickel coverage. Likes to play big nickel, and whether that's with the third safety, a lot of that will depend on what personnel that he has available. I don't know Chicago's personnel as well, so I couldn't really tell you. But it's going to be exotic looks, and it's going to be to get after the quarterback.
Well, we could use the getting after the quarterback part. Certainly here, the defensive line did not come up big really the last couple of seasons, although Montez Sweat, the addition of him, helped a little bit for a time, but he was hurt for a lot of this past season. Deuce, if you're looking at the Bears and this transformation that's about to take place with Dennis Allen, what's the biggest weakness when you look at his time in New Orleans from your vantage point?
The Saints defense was best when they could play with 7.5 in the box. And so basically that's having a corner that can be physical, but he's really not a corner, nickel corner. He's really almost like a safety. If you don't have that now I have to commit another guy in that box, because DA likes to play two safety high. Now he will walk that other safety down into the box, but that's not what he wants to do. He wants to play nickel. He wants to be able to go have linebackers that can run side to side and be able to plug and play, but he also wants to have that nickel linebacker that can fill the hole and be able to make tackles. And so you've got to have at least one defensive tackle that is willing to do the dirty work, and then the other, that three technique guy, he has to be able to get after the passer. And if he doesn't have that, you better have at least a boy dog at one defensive end spot that can rush the quarterback on his own.
Why did he fail as a head coach, DA?
Multiple reasons. I think, when you look at it, injuries played a part in that role, and then not being able to really get the most out of some of the players that you were banking on. The Saints couldn't afford to lose a couple of guys. One was your center when you lost him for an extended period of time. And then the other part of it was, I don't think guys were accountable enough for some of the mistakes that they were making. And I don't want to say DA wasn't tough enough on them, but I would have loved for him to be a little bit more tougher. I mean, I think that I love him as a person. I love him as a coach. But I think some guys took advantage of him as far as, hey, not that I'm not accountable, but too many guys didn't do what they needed to do. And, DA could have came down a lot harder on him.
Well, that's a little bit concerning because we've had some accountability issues, we'll say. I know you saw, as the world saw, the Hail Mary play against the Washington Commanders, and that's one of those things that did not get, quote-unquote, nipped in the bud, if you will. When you talk about his personality, how would you describe him from a personality standpoint, Dennis Allen?
Yeah, now, look, when I say that now, don't think that he won't sit, and I know what you're talking about. Don't think that he won't sit him down, and it's going to be above Dennis, even as a head coach, even the general manager. Hey, we're going to suspend you, for a game. We're going to suspend you for multiple games. If something like that has to happen, and it has to happen. And so from that standpoint, he's not afraid to do that. I mean, so don't get me wrong when I say that, but from a personality standpoint, the players will love him. because he is a player's coach, but he is demanding as well. You've got to still go out there and do your job. It's not like he's not going to teach. He's going to be one that teaches the game, but also if you could be talented, but if you don't know what you're doing, he's going to give you a couple of chances. But if you can't get it done, then he's going to go with maybe somebody that is not as talented but can do the job like it needs to be done.
When you watch Saquon Barkley, what do you see? Does he remind you of anybody? Is there a comp right now for the kind of football that he's playing? And it just from one successful running back to another.
I love how he's playing. I mean, he is playing like a back that wants to get even an extension, even though he just signed a new deal with the Eagles, and a lot of that as well. The offensive line does a great job, but Saquon will tell you, he still has to break some tackles. One of the things that you see him doing a lot is getting to the second and third level, and once he's to the second and third level, those DBs don't want to tackle him. And then I think, his size surprises a lot of guys because he's a heavier back. I mean, Saquon goes easy 225, but he's still running 4.4, and so being that big, being that heavy, and outrunning guys, it surprises some teams. And so getting to the second and third level, he's giving you the home run threat, and then his ability to be able to catch it out of the backfield, it makes it really tough for defenses to say, all right, we're going to put 8 in the box. If you're doing that, then now I'm leaving Smitty and I'm leaving A.J. Brown one-on-one situations. And so they've done a good job of being able to scheme and be able to get him in space with some duo runs. And you see some of the toss cracks that they're running. That's what that first play was where he scored. I mean, and they're doing a good job of getting him in space.
Declan Doyle, I know he was there as an offensive assistant. How much familiarity, if any, do you have with what he was doing? And are you surprised to see him at 28 years old become an offensive coordinator?
No, not at all. I mean, Declan was with us for 4 years, and he's a grinder, guy that's going to go in there, break down film, can relate to players, understands the college game, which is translating and transitioning into the NFL game, and I think that will help Caleb a lot. I mean, so some of the looks that you see in college will be able to transfer over to what they do in Chicago. And I think, with Ben's creativity as far as, hey, let's get him multiple answers to the test where, if something pops up, he has something that he's comfortable with going to. And so Declan won't call the plays. It'll still be Ben's responsibility, but just to have some different eyes. He comes from obviously, Sean's system, Coach Sean Payton's system. That's a little bit different from Ben, and so now it's marrying some different ideas and being able to get the quarterback multiple answers to the test.